The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're about 2 minutes before the top of the hour. Just want to make sure that everyone has a good visual here. If you can see the title slide, we're not in presentation mode yet, but if you can see the title slide and you hear my voice coming across loud and clear, please pop a yes into the question box. Pop a yes in there just so I make sure that we're coming across loud and clear, good audio, good video, all of those kinds of things. And let's see what's coming in. So thank you, everyone. Ross and Pam and Sandra, Richard, Michael, Fred, Scott, great to see you. Fabian, Linda, Mark with a plus. Thank you, sir. Orlando, Robert, Phil, great to see you. Richard is giving me already compliments about great audio, not just good audio, but great audio. And Melanie and Kevin and AG, thank you, thank you, thank you. Tremendous. All right. Well, webinars are exciting. This is going to be a little bit of a meta experience. It's the webinar about webinars. And I'm going to take you behind the scenes, show you all kinds of cool things that you can do with webinars in your business based on some of what we've done with webinars in our business. And this is probably one of my favorite webinars to teach. Maybe because it's that meta level, the webinar about webinars, but also because I think in the current crisis and the current craziness that we're dealing with, webinars have been a lifeline. Webinars have been a lifeline in my business. Webinars have been a lifeline in many of our clients' businesses. The ability to do webinars and to create webinars as a lead generator or as a sales mechanism, depending on your business, depending what you're doing, depending what you're selling, that can be a game changer. That can become your superpower. And I'm very, very excited to share that with you today. All right, so let us begin. It's the top of the hour, lots and lots of action-packed fun here. I'm going to go into presentation mode. We're going to have a big Q&A at the end, so hang out for that. And let's see if we can break the internet with this thing. There it is, high fee webinars, how to create, promote, and profit from webinars to teach your audience, grow your list, and land high fee clients during the current crisis. That is our goal. That is our mission. That's what we're here to do. Quick poll right back in the question box. As far as your primary business model, and you can sell all of these things, by the way, on a webinar, but so I can tailor some of the examples coming up, are you primarily a consultant, meaning you might want to sell consulting services on a webinar? Are you primarily a coach and you have a suite of coaching services? Type in coach if that's the case. Are you a trainer? Are you doing virtual online experiences, training sessions? Trainer. And if you're primarily a speaker, well, your event calendar in the real world has been wiped out. It's probably going to come back in some way, shape, or form. But are you doing virtual speaking and do you want to monetize other distribution methods of your expertise on a webinar? If that's you, put in speaker. So primary, I know many of us do all of these things, but what's the primary moneymaker? What's the primary moneymaker for you? Is it primarily as a consultant, as a coach, as a trainer, or as a speaker? And let's see what the survey says here. We have lots of all of the above: consultant, speaker, trainer, consultant, all, speaker, fantastic. So Michael, Bernadette, Richard, Tony, Andrea, Rebecca, Michael, Mark, Bishal, Melanie, Ross, Laura, Nancy, Linda with a Y, Robert, Matt, Sharon, Jackie, Thomas, Ari, Linda, Walter, Mark, AG, Tim, Don, Doug, Scott, Pearl, Carlos, Guillermo, Carol, Jonathan, Sandra. I can read names. This is fantastic. We got a whole big run of trainers here. Trainer, 4 in a row. Consultant, all of the above. Speaker, consultant, trainer, and coach. Consultant. Again, the consultants are catching up. And we have Michael, who is 100% speaker. And Wayne also says speaker. Marissa and Orlando say consultant. Fabian says consultant/speaker. Excellent. Good. Now, let me ask you a semi-rhetorical question, although it's not really semi-rhetorical. I know, because my business has been affected, your business has been affected, the world has been affected by the impact of the COVID-19 crisis. I'm wondering, in your world, how have you been affected? Obviously, as a speaker, lots of canceled and postponed events. Maybe your prospecting and your sales and your lead generation has suffered. Maybe your income has gone down. Maybe doors that you used to knock on and used to open previously are now, you're not even knocking. Maybe they're not opening, or maybe they're not opening in the way that you're knocking. But in a couple of words, in a couple of keywords or short phrases, jot down in the question box just so I can see, because webinars might help you with some or all of these. How have you been affected with your business, with your prospecting, with your lead generation, even with your visibility and your ability to get in front of prospects who can hire you? What's been the effect for the last few months? What's been the effect? I'd love to see that in the question box as you respond. Clients have shifted their priorities, that is for sure. All of the above has suffered. Some clients unaffected, others hanging back for a while. Badly canceled and postponed. Income and prospecting has been affected. Most of my consulting work postponed, but it has allowed me to start new projects and complete them. I love that, Fred. Great job. Lead gen through conference speaking died. So that's great, Jonathan. We can replace that with webinar. Lead generation, lack of client response. Tim, I'm going to show you how webinars can solve that one for you. Melanie says potential clients are so distracted we can't get their attention. Believe it or not, webinars will help you with that as well. We'll talk about how. And Susie says clients less likely to engage, too many unknowns. 80% of my business has disappeared as a consultant, says Tom. Yeah, so very similar patterns here. I am glad you're here. Let me just say that. I am glad that you are here. Let me ask you another tough question, then we'll move into our content. Honestly, rationally, objectively, do you feel it's ever going to come back in the same way? Are we going to be able to look ahead, look back, and say, you know, this is kind of like January 2020. This is the good old-fashioned old reality. Do you feel that it's ever going to come back? This can be yes or no. We don't need long, diatribes in here. Just simple yes or no. Do you feel it's ever coming back in the same way? I have a theory about this. I'm going to share the theory later. It has to do with webinars, of course. But I'm curious, do you feel that we're going back to January 2020 with our business models, our distribution methods, the way that we monetize our expertise? Too early to tell. No's. Yes, in 2 years, says Don. I think so, but it will take a while. Maybe eventually. Events industry will never be the same. Old reality is gone. Yes and no. No, there'll be a new normal and new reality. Okay. So we have a couple of optimists and folks that are thinking it's going to come back in some way, shape, or form, but a lot of balanced no's and yes and no, and sort of normalizing around a new baseline. No one knows, of course. My theory, and the reason that we're here doing high fee webinars, is I think it will normalize along a new baseline. And I think the people that have mastered the webinar marketing and the webinar lead generation and the webinar sales opportunities that I'm going to share with you today are the ones that will be positioned to have a beautiful hybrid business model, hybrid-based business model, meaning some online marketing and lead generation and client delivery, and some offline lead generation, marketing, and client delivery, and the ability to flex when you need to, so that if another, God forbid, another pandemic, another act of global terrorism, some other unforeseen event happens, you can retreat online, but your revenue does not retreat. Let me repeat that. you should be able, if you implement what we talk about today, you should be able to retreat your business 100% online, online lead generation, online sales, online delivery, and your revenue does not retreat. I'm going to show you some revenue numbers later that will maybe amaze you or shock you or stun you or disgust you, but doesn't really matter because it's just revenue. Your business does not need to implode when the economy implodes. If you can flex, if you can move online, if you have this superpower ability to move things online when they need to be online, move things back offline when you want to, not when you have to, but when you want to, that's going to become a superpower for the rest of your professional career. I am very excited that you're here. That's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to dig into right now. Game plan for today: how to rescue clients, gigs, and profit from your calendar, how to rescue them and put some of that revenue back, and how to rescue clients, by the way, how to help clients now when they need you the most. Webinar marketing insider secrets, how to avoid some webinar mistakes and landmines, how to make webinars pay off big time in your particular business with your business model, your expertise, your current distribution method for that expertise. Like we said, consultant, coach, trainer, speaker. How to protect and safeguard revenue long term, which I just talked about, and some next steps to help you make it happen. First half, strategic. We're going to keep things sort of high level, 10, 15,000 foot. Then we're going to go into the tactical, practical, exactly what to do and how to do it, what to say and how to say it to get people to sign up, show up, stay till the end, buy what you have to sell, more leads, more appointments, more sales. If it's a product sale, we'll talk about direct sales on a webinar. We'll talk about indirect sales on a webinar. So we're going to go first strategic, then we're going to go deep dive into tactical palooza. So, did I mention I'm excited? Super excited. Huge Q&A at the end. I'm going to encourage you hang out for that Q&A. I want to make sure that every question is answered. I will stay here until I outnumber you. I will stay here till every one of your webinar and webinar marketing and webinar selling and webinar structure and webinar technology questions is answered. I am not going anywhere. I am here to help you. I am here to serve you. Big Q&A at the end. You totally want to hang out for that. Here is big picture, the strategic outcomes of having a webinar strategy installed in your business. First and foremost, fantastic way to teach your fans and followers. If you did nothing else, webinars would be a positioning strategy and a visibility and credibility strategy, but it's a lot more than that. It's going to boost your know, like, and trust factor. It's going to be raw material for your content marketing. It's going to help you bust down the walls and bust down some resistance so that you can make a COVID-19 relevant offer. And what I'm looking forward to is a post-COVID-19 relevant offer where your clients and audiences and leads and customers are living in a post-COVID-19 world and even selling more of what you sell now. When I said a moment ago, hey, we're going to go back to a hybrid normal, some aspects will come back, some won't, some will be different, but you can totally sell more of what you're selling right now today, or you can test market something new. So if I were to say, why should you get involved in webinars? Why should you listen to me? Why should you even roll up your sleeves and dig into this material? These would be the top 6 strategic reasons of having a webinar strategy installed in your business as a permanent capability and competency. My own perilous journey with webinars and as an entrepreneur, some of you have seen this before because I talk about it a lot. It's one grand total of 1 slide about my background. I was not born a poor small black child. I was not born in a van down by the river, so you're not going to hear any kind of crazy sob story like that. But I will tell you the steps and the missteps along the way. First 3 years of my business, many of you know this because I say it a lot, totally broke, totally clueless, made every mistake in the book, made the good ones twice. Next 3 years, slowly started to figure it out. I had 2 profit centers, only 2, speaking and one-on-one coaching. Speaking was in person, one-on-one coaching was obviously virtual on the phone. 2008, I started to get into these one-to-many distribution modes, specifically with teleseminars. Who remembers teleseminars? We have any old-timers here that go back to the good old days of the early 2000s? I was even late to the teleseminar party, let alone the webinar party. I was late. They were doing teleseminars since like 1997. But I jumped on that, started monetizing teleseminars simply because it was one-to-many marketing, one-to-many lead generation, one-to-many prospecting. I see some friends and clients here who go back to those days. So Michael Moore, you were on some of these teleseminars. There's probably a handful of other people whose names I recognize here that we go back to these teleseminar days. You remember what I'm talking about. 2012, I started doing webinars like this one to generate leads, generate sales conversations, and or generate sales. We're going to talk about that later with the direct webinar marketing where you're selling something versus the indirect webinar marketing where you are generating a lead or an inquiry or a strategy session. So we'll give you both of those strategies today. 2014, I totally stopped my one-on-one private coaching and I added high-fee group mentoring, also sold via webinars. 2017, we added high-fee elite access programs that they would graduate to after the front-end high-fee mentoring programs. High-fee mentoring programs is like Speaker Profit Formula, our high-fee mentoring program, which is called high-fee mentoring. That's kind of a meta thing as well. We just finished a round of that. We have a new batch of people going through there. Basically, for the last 8 years, 100% of my business and 100% of my revenue was built on my ability to do what I'm teaching you right now, which is to present a webinar, be radically helpful, be radically useful, and invite people to take the next step with me. Now, fair warning, guess what? I wouldn't be in high integrity if I didn't tell you that we're going to do the same thing on this webinar. So you're going to get a ton of value. You're going to take a ton of notes. You're going to get a ton of ahas and insights. And I'm going to invite you to a next step if webinars are a serious part of your future and a serious part of your revenue generation and a serious part of how you would like to market, get leads, add value and credibility to your platform, and make sales. So we're in meta land here. We're meta on the webinars. Let's talk about your clients right now, because many people said, oh, my clients are frozen. I can't get in the door. Don't know what, my clients are frozen in fear to a certain extent. Their old priorities are totally gone. They are rightly freaked out. They're asking themselves questions like this. Will they lose their job? Will they lose any more customers? Will the company even survive? When are things going to open up? When are things going to return to some level of new normal? When can we go outside again? Think of a personal downturn and the psychology that you would have around that. And this is how we now need to market our webinars. Crisis psychology and crisis behavior leads to crisis marketing. Even post-crisis marketing, this is going to stand you in good stead. Crisis behavior, people cut discretionary spending, where they want to reduce costs, extend the runway, reduce their risk of any kind, hunker down. You want to avoid any kind of growth messaging. There's a different kind of messaging they're tuned into now, which I'll share with you in a second. They are going to follow the herd, and above all, they want to avoid complexity. So your marketing messages and your webinar messages need to be as simple as possible. That was always true, but it's true now more than ever. Simplicity rules the day. Here's how you adapt your messaging. If they want to reduce costs, extend the runway, cut spending, hunker down, you get new verbs and new nouns. The verbs are things like extend, preserve, protect, safeguard, survive, restore, reboot, pivot, and flex. The new nouns are things like change, turbulence, turmoil, trouble, uncertainty, downturn, and crisis. In order to break through crisis thinking, you have to use crisis language that helps them understand, A, you get them, and B, you have something relevant. If you can do that, they will hop onto your webinar. If you can do that, they will take you up on your offer. If you can do that, you will get the appointment and you will make the sale. If you're marketing like you did in January 2020, Huge disconnect, huge barrier, huge problem. The number one key to results is to get rid of the old mindset. Whatever we were thinking, doing, and selling in January of 2020, that's got to go. We have to adjust to the new reality. Our clients do not need more panic. What they need is more help. So this is really critical, that if your webinar strategy and your overall marketing strategy could be driven by webinars, I think should be driven by webinars, is seen as helpful and relevant and not a source of panic, distraction, or noise, you will win. And by the way, the stores still don't have the kind of paper napkins and paper towels that I like. We are doing fine on toilet paper. Thank you for asking. Normally, it's hard enough to get a prospect's attention. Think about all your nightmare prospects that you've ever worked with who just don't get what you do, don't resonate, give you all kinds of excuses and stalls. I have to think about it. Yeah, we can't afford this right now. Sounds great, just not for me. Yeah, maybe we'll do this next year. We're going a different direction. They're lazy, busy, befuddled, and distracted. That's when times were good. That's when times were good. They were lazy, busy, befuddled, and distracted. Type yes in the question box if you've ever had that experience, and we're going to talk about how it gets worse, but how you can make it better with webinar marketing being radically relevant and radically valuable and radically helpful to your clients right now in this time and in the post-COVID-19. But if you've had that happen during quote-unquote normal times, where you've gotten that kind of pushback and rejection, type in yes. I know I have. I know I have a lot. And it's hard enough when times are good. So we're getting lots of yeses here. Thank goodness. For a second there, I thought it was just me. But apparently it's not just me, because it's Robert and Melanie and hi, Rebecca. Great to see you. Matt, Bishal, Jonathan, Jackie, Michael, Sandra, Terry, Scott, Gary, Don, Linda, Wayne, Walter, Pat, Wendy, Pearl, Kathy, Greg, Leonard, Bridget, Susie, Laura, Marilyn, Tom, Fred, Fabian, Rochelle, and Katrina. Katrina, I haven't seen you in forever, stranger. Holy smokes. Not to mention double R from NYC. Unbelievable. And Doug and Michael both chiming in. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, so whoops, a little quick on the trigger finger. Let's go back here. If they don't have the know, like, trust factor, they haven't been indoctrinated, they don't really respect or know your expertise yet, here's what can happen. Even when you're hired, they don't see the value, they nitpick your fees, they nickel and dime you, they don't do the work, they don't show up for calls, they delay the program, they don't implement, and obviously they don't get results. Now we're moving from the nightmare prospect from hell to the nightmare client from hell. Have we had this experience? If yes, type in oi in the question box. And again, maybe it's just me, but I've had these clients where for low fee, they don't know who I am, they bought some cheap program, and that's why this program is called high fee webinars. We want you selling your high fee programs on a webinar, not cheap stuff. But type in oi if you've had that nightmare client who even after they buy, they nitpick the fees, they second guess, they micromanage, they don't show up on calls, they delay install your program, they delay install your payments, they don't do the work, and they don't get results. Maybe again it's just me, but it looks like it's not. Oi, 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 lots of ois, and thank you for the full phrase, as my people like to say, oy vey. Oy vey is the correct grammatical. Oi is just short for oy vey. You know how that goes. All right. Now, the problem, here's why that happens. No preeminence in your field and no respect coming into the relationship, meaning that no indoctrination of your methodology, training, and tools, and no pre-sale value. Please write that down somewhere. No pre-sale value. We all do a great job, I'm assuming, in delivering post-sale value. Someone writes you a big, fat, juicy check, post-sale value, they get the full treatment. They get all of your awesomeness delivered on a platter. Pre-sale value is things like this. A webinar. A webinar that teaches is a webinar that sells. If you don't help people, don't just tell people you can help them on the webinar. That is your strongest indoctrination tool. It is your strongest source of pre-sale value. People say to me, well, David, what if I help them a lot on the webinar and they don't buy? I'm like, okay, what if you don't help them on the webinar and they don't buy? Frankly, I'd rather have my scenario than your scenario of being radically relevant, radically helpful, and radically useful. And the right people always step up. The right people always say, this is the guy, this is the gal. She knows our problem. She knows what we're going through. She can obviously help, not because she says so, but because she showed it. She proved it. So, of course, the problem here is this doom loop of low respect, low expectation, low effort, low results, and that's exhausting and depressing to work with clients like that. Let's flip it to people that saw your webinar. Now they've had an experience of you. They know you can deliver the goods because you delivered the goods, not because you said so. You are doing client education, you are building client intimacy, and you're doing value first prospecting. Value first prospecting, you get more traction, more speed. Frankly, it's a whole heck of a lot more fun doing this than cold calling or spamming the universe or begging for business. You have a high level of respect with clients that come in to work with you, high expectation of results, thus they exert a high amount of effort, and when they work hard, they get amazing results in your program. Obviously, this is the path that you want people to take. A webinar sets the table and sets the stage for exactly that type of client engagement. Now, let me show you what webinars have done. This is the financial part that I promised you. All of these numbers are 100% webinar driven. Those of you that have been here, it's not your first rodeo. You know what I'm talking about. I'm a webinar maniac. Everything I do is sold through, with, before, during, or after a webinar. Everything, 100%. I started getting a handle on this about 5 years ago, September of 2015, $57,000 in sales. October, a little bit better on those webinars. I'm going to show you the specific numbers here in a moment, the specific deals that came in before this, during this, and after this. So it was 67K. And then November of 2015 was my first six-figure month. And this is a landmark moment in my life. I literally had an out-of-body experience saying to myself, holy crap. I pinched myself. I couldn't believe it. We did 2 webinars in November of 2015. I wanted to do one, but I did 2, and they were both high 5-figure webinars. So we did 60, 70K on one, we did 60, 70K on the other. Obviously, first 6-figure month, I was totally shocked, totally blown away. Literally out of body experience. Like if I wasn't looking at the shopping cart, if I wasn't looking at the bank account, I would never have believed that this is possible. I'm going to show you the humble beginnings of this because we all start with humble beginnings, but I also want to show you the dramatic impact of this and how it's had an impact not just 5 years ago, but even up to the present day, which I'll show you in a second. This is the first time I ever had 6 figures in my bank account. So this is a snapshot from August of 2015. Like most of you, I would have, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 sitting in there. This is my transactional checking account that we pay the bills and pay the team and pay everybody. The money was stacking up so fast because of webinars that there was 6 figures in the bank, which had never been there before. Never, ever, ever. I thought, oh my gosh, we've entered crazy town. These are the kinds of sales that we're doing on webinars. These are not little piddly transactional, we're not selling $47 ebooks. We're selling $10, $12, $10,000 programs, $9,500 programs, $65, $6,000 programs, $5,000 programs, depending on what we promoted at what times during the month. Some of these are from automated webinars, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Some are from live webinars like this one. But we're talking major, major dollar sales. We're not talking, hey, I'm selling a $47 ebook. Who wants one? Question for you, just having seen this much, we're going to dig into the details and the little grass level detail here in a moment. What would your life and business look like if you could turn on the tap and get $5,000 to $10,000 clients anytime that you wanted by putting a webinar together like this one. I just want you to visualize that for 20 seconds. Close your eyes. You are now fully in control of your lead flow, your client flow, and your cash flow. You have the superpower, which when you want more clients, you do a webinar. And you can enroll people into your programs, coaching, consulting, mentorship, CEO roundtables, masterminds, all of these things we're going to talk about later. Whatever they are, put some emotion words in here about what that would feel like. So I'm seeing relief, amazing, awesome, holy S with lots of asterisks and exclamation points, and I see where you're going with that. Put more of those in. Put more of those in. What would your life and business look like if you had this webinar superpower and you could turn on the tap and get 5 to 10K clients? Not selling $47 ebooks, but selling what you want to sell, selling online virtual programs, virtual training, might be an online course that you have, might be consulting with you one-on-one, privately, personally, might be a CEO roundtable, might be a mastermind group that you're putting together. Yeah, these are fantastic words. I'd have an out-of-body experience too. Excitement, I could breathe better, blessed, freeing. I want to go there, says Mark. Peaceful, relaxed, and fun, says Katrina. Successful with some dollar signs on the back end of success. Totally amazing and unbelievable, says Melanie. I love it, says Bridget. Rochelle says, my partner could be working for the company. Yes, you could totally hire your partner. Wayne says, on track. Walter says, heavenly. Gary says, fundamental change from the B2B consumer. Sandra says, blessed. Let's do that. Debbie says, rock on, more virtual business. Yes, 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 and yes. I got to be brutally honest. I wish I had planned this out. I didn't. In 2013, I wanted to move to an online webinar-driven business based on my success with teleseminars and one-to-many marketing, one-to-many prospecting, one-to-many program delivery. My firm belief, and what I'm advising all of my clients right now, is you have to do this. This used to be a nice to have supplement, complement to your other lead generation and sales strategies. I would say right now, webinars is all that's left. And I know what you're going to say, David, there's a ton of webinars out there in my market. Everyone's doing a coronavirus webinar. Everyone's got a COVID-19 webinar now. How will I stand out? I have a simple answer. Yours won't suck. Write that down if you need to. Yours won't suck. So many of these webinars, you've been on them, I've been on them. These webinars are god-awful. They're embarrassing, they're a huge waste of time, and they're insulting to your audience. I want you to do webinars on the opposite end of the spectrum that are going to be pivot points in that prospect's perception of your value, your credibility, and your expertise. Before the webinar, they might not know who you are. After the webinar, with the indoctrination sequence we're going to talk about, and with the credibility and the value bombs that you're going to deliver, it's going to be a substantial experience of what it's like to work with you, and they are now going to jump into the boat. They are now much more likely to jump into the boat because they've had an amazing value-first marketing experience with you. Now, let's talk about, so yes, high-fee webinars. My mouse is going crazy here. I apologize. People go, is this live or is this recorded? Trust me, it's live. we would cut out all of these mistakes if it was recorded. You can do recorded webinars, and part of what we'll talk about later is the role of recorded webinars. But I'm a huge believer in live webinars. It's live webinars that have saved my business. And live webinars saved my business in March of this year. And live webinars saved my business again in April of this year. I'm going to show you those numbers in a moment. But we're talking about live webinars, high fee, selling high fee programs, high fee investable opportunities, one-to-many prospecting, 100% remote delivery, 100% scalable. There could have been 50 people on this webinar. There could have been 100. There could have been 150. There could have been 500. There could have been 1,000. Above and beyond that, it gets tricky with depending on what platform you're using and what your limitations are. But we have a 1,000 seat license here to go to webinars. So we could have had 1,000 people on here. Would you rather prospect to one person at a time, 10 people at a time, 100 people at a time, or 1,000 people at a time? I would rather prospect to 1,000 people at a time. I'll take a couple hundred if I have to. It's okay. Here's what to sell. Here's what to sell. It's my 3+1 webinar sales strategy. Really, it's 3+2. Don't tell anyone, but I'm over delivering for you. First, we just established consultant, coach, speaker, trainer. Whatever that is, it's your remote and virtual experiences. Virtual speaking, and we would have cut the burps too. Virtual speaking, virtual training, virtual experiences. Number 2, your one-on-one coaching, private consulting, private mentorship programs. Number 3, your online courses or video series or other things that are totally scalable and totally digital. The next thing, this is the 3+1 now, is other people's courses and programs. So once you establish some friendships within whatever professional group or professional association you happen to belong to, I belong to a online marketers mastermind called the JVMM. I also belong, obviously, to NSA. We're in the CSP group. We're in the $1 Million Speakers group. All kinds of cool, fun people in there that have all kinds of cool, fun programs that I don't do and that I don't teach and that I personally have either bought or gotten tremendous value from or have some firsthand experience with. Why shouldn't I promote that on a webinar? And we do a revenue share. We expose them to a new audience, and they expose me to an affiliate commission. So we've done that in the past. It's been very, very successful. Obviously, I am super protective of who I do that with and who I do that for, because if it's not a top-notch program, I don't want my name, I don't want my brand associated with it. So I do it literally for maybe, you can count on one hand. There are 5 types of things or 5 specific people and partners that I would promote in this way. It's not, hey, take every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Jane. The next one, I think, has the most juice in the current environment. And I want you to write this down because we can talk about it later if we decide to take the next step together. Right now, there is the biggest opportunity ever to do sponsored webinars on behalf of sales organizations at companies that are having the same sales problems that you are. So this is a corporate sale. It's sold to a VP of marketing or a VP of sales or a VP of new business development because their sales team cannot get in. They can't get in with existing clients and customers. They certainly aren't doing as well with new business and door opening activity. You can show up as a relevant door opening value first resource where they pay you to do a webinar or a series of webinars on behalf of the company as a client retention strategy, a client loyalty strategy, or a client acquisition strategy by them leading with value, not leading with a sales pitch. We're going to talk about how that structure works a little bit later on today's training, but please write down sponsored webinars because I want you and me to talk about that. We can talk about that during the Q&A at the end. We can talk about that if we decide to take the next step together. But this is the biggest blue ocean strategy, the biggest unclaimed opportunity right now for thought leading experts is to do sponsored webinars, not to a client, but for a client and on behalf of a client. So we'll talk about that later, but huge, 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 huge. That's why 3+1 went to 3+2 for today. I actually stumbled into this whole webinar selling, webinar strategy. I did a webinar in November of 2012 at the last minute, literally moments before I turned on the computer. I said, this webinar, there's no offer. There's no call to action. Maybe I should sell something. And at this point, I had no online courses. I had no mentoring programs. I had no nothing. I had me, a computer, a microphone, and a telephone. I said, well, what could I sell? What can I sell on this webinar that's about to start in a few minutes? I made up 2 extra slides. Slide number 1 said one-on-one mentoring with me, $5,500. That was a 90-day program back 8 years ago. Second program, 3-session mini consult, $1,200. Literally 2 slides, like, maybe somebody wants a 90-day coaching, $5,500, 3-session mini consult. I'll get on 3 calls for $1,200. Sure, why not? No idea what would work, if it would work, if I would leave empty-handed, or what the heck would happen. Did not have a huge number of people on that one, maybe 70, 80 people total. The call to action was this primitive. I was like, well, if you want to talk about the one-on-one, drop me an email. My email is david@doitmarketing.com. Put one-on-one chat in the subject line. If you want the 3-session chat, put 3-session chat in the subject line, and let's connect. We'll discuss it. By that Friday, here's what happened. 3 people signed up for the $5,500 program. 1 person signed up at $1,200. We did this webinar on a Tuesday. And by Friday, I had $17,700 in my bank account that was not there on Monday. At this point, I said to myself, I think I'm onto something. I think this might work. Do a great webinar, make a simple offer. This was no tech. This was no tech. This was no thought. File this under even a blind squirrel occasionally finds a nut. That's where to file this under. However, at the end of that week, having $17,700 in the bank, I felt like I might have found something good here. I might have stumbled onto something pretty smart. Basically, it was the jackpot strategy that changed the trajectory of my business and that changed the trajectory of my life. Let's talk about some things not to do or not to get sucked into when it comes to webinars. Landmine number 1, please never let me see you charge money for a webinar. That is extremely silly. That playbook is from the year 1997. Nobody makes any serious money with low-fee paid webinars. And it attracts a huge tribe of strugglers, wannabes. I know Joanna's on this call, so I always credit Joanna. People that I lovingly call broke-ass losers. You're building the wrong tribe who will never grow your business when you start selling $49, $79 one-off webinars. Plus, more importantly, it doesn't help your clients. Landmine number 2, having no process or system to your webinar marketing formula. Sometimes it might be a home run, sometimes it's a total dud. So when you have low sales from a webinar, that means that you spent way too much time convincing, you raised too many objections, or you came across in that webinar needy, pushy, and you raised some red flags around resistance. Or you were speaking to an empty room, virtual room, and all you got was crickets. So they didn't sign up, they didn't show up, they didn't stay, they didn't buy, they weren't engaged, they weren't excited by what you had to share. Landmine number 3, too much pull, not enough, too much push, not enough pull. In a webinar, I spent 1 slide, ladies and gentlemen, I spent 1 slide talking about myself and my backstory. If you spend any more than 1 slide, I'm gone. I'm gone. I don't care about your divorce. I don't care about your battle with cancer. I don't care you grew up poor. I don't care you grew up rich. I don't care that all 3 of your parents were alcoholic drug addicts. I don't care. I'm here for help. I'm here for value. I'm here for relevance. I'm here for content. I am not here for your life story on the biography channel. So please, please, anyone that teaches webinar marketing, and there's plenty of people that do that, and say, oh no, spend 20 minutes talking about your story. No, 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 no. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen on landmine number 3 here in the question box? When you focus on your story, or you focus on your stuff, you focus on your methodology, your models, your methods, no one cares about that. When you focus on inputs rather than outputs, your audience tunes out. And this is where you have to chase them. It's disappearing prospect syndrome. instead of them applying to work with you. They need to, after a webinar, they need to apply to work with you. You do not work with everyone. You are selective. You are a high status trusted advisor. Thank you for the amens that I see coming in. It seems to be an overwhelming concept here that so many of these webinars are self-indulgent ego fests that really don't add value to any of their audience members, and it's just sad. So type the word me if you found yourself doing these in any of your early webinar adventures. Not that you would do landmine number 3, but maybe you had spotty results doing webinars in the past. If you have done them, sometimes it's a home run, sometimes it's a total dud, or you got tempted to start selling stuff for $49, $79, $99, and of course that landed with a big tumbleweed. Nobody bought, no one did anything. Too much push, not enough pull. Doesn't have to be the biography life story, but just too much pushing, too much selling, too much striving, etc. Okay, lots and lots of me's. Me's with lots of e's. Me's with lots of e's and lots of exclamation points. Now let's talk about what this looks like when you do it right. If you've avoided all of those landmines and problems and missteps, your webinar marketing, webinar lead generation, and webinar selling strategy is going to be firing on all cylinders. Let me grab a drink. Did I mention this was the most fun webinar that I do? It's the most fun webinar that I do. Here's your know, like, trust client attraction system or pyramid. People think, oh, I have a coaching program, I have an online course, I have a new consulting, I have a new CEO roundtable, I have a new mastermind forum. I'll put it out on social media. Guess what? Social media, not enough. Oh, I'll send a few emails about it. Emails, not enough. Oh, I'll just do some outreach. I'll just, tap some people on LinkedIn. I'll go back to some past clients. Not enough. Here's the magic. Webinars are one-to-many, and they are a force multiplier for all of the below. A webinar will make your one-on-one prospecting more effective. Hey, Brenda, did you happen to see the webinar that we just did? No? Well, here's the replay. So you're one-on-one, but the webinar is now a value item that you can lead with. Email marketing. You can blast people till you're blue in the face, email, or you can email them about a high-fee webinar event that's going to teach them and help them, whether they end up being a client or not. And then social media for the sake of social media doesn't make any sense. Social media to promote a webinar that gets people on your email list that will foster a one-on-one conversation before or during or after the webinar. You can send them the replay in case they missed it. That is a self-reinforcing, know, like, trust client attraction system. Social media driven by webinars, email marketing driven by webinars, prospecting and one-on-one outreach driven by webinars, and the webinar itself is one-to-many prospecting, one-to-many lead generation, visibility, credibility, and proof that you are awesome, and it's a force multiplier for everything else that you're going to do in your client attraction marketing system. Let's say you have a $4,000 coaching offer, and let's say you get 100 people to show up on a webinar. Not easy to do, but doable. 10% conversion, which is kind of low, especially if you follow our webinar selling strategies, our webinar selling roadmap. 10% conversion, you're not hitting it out of the park, but it's also, you're not going to do that your first time out either. But 10 sales, 4K, $40,000. If you did a live webinar once a month, and we used to do live webinars once a month, then we automated them, then we used to do them twice a month live, and now we're back to about once a month live. If you did just this, turned everything else off, and doubled down on your webinar marketing and sales strategy, you could generate $40,000 a month within a few months, $480,000 a year. If you already have some other income streams, great, God bless you. How about we add $480,000 a year? You're already making 100 or 150. Let's take that to 530. Let's take it to 600. Let's take it to 700. Let's take it to whatever $40,000 a month would mean to you of additional income driven by and powered by your webinar marketing, lead generation, and sales strategy. If you think about it, and I've had this experience as I cross these various barriers, 10,000 a month, 20,000, 40,000, up and up from there. It is easier. I'm saying it can be. I'm telling you from factual experience, it is easier and less stressful and way more fun to build a business model that is meant to support a $40,000 month than something that is tough, one-on-one, slugging it out in the trenches and try and scrape together $4,000 a month. The magic key is you got to plan out the math. So you can do this hard, slow, and painful. All the internet marketing gurus want you to do funnels and freemiums and tripwires and sell this for $7, then sell this other thing for $31, and then put together big, long internet marketing sales letters and do, Jeff Walker product launch formula. That's fantastic. You have a list of 10, 20, 30,000 people, go for it. If you don't, I would rather have you go easy, fast, and effective. Easy, fast, and effective is webinars, help you generate leads and sales today. It is the fastest, easiest, best way to sell your product and service. It is a freedom-based marketing and delivery mode, and you can do it from anywhere. Now, it doesn't matter because you can do it from your basement or your kitchen or your living room or your dining room, but eventually, when we can travel again, you can do a webinar from anywhere. I've done webinars from the beach in Ocean City, New Jersey. I've done webinars from Tokyo, Japan. I've done webinars from the UK. I have done webinars in every imaginable spot. When I'm on vacation, when I'm at a speaking engagement, when I'm attending a conference, the webinar schedule does not need to change. It is fully portable. It is fully flexible. Why webinars are number one? You don't need a big, long sales letter. You don't need to worry about complicated funnels and technology. They are not only great for making sales, but they're also great to create products, create training, do the affiliate promotions I mentioned earlier. They're a great way to fulfill, so having a webinar as a for sale product, and engaging your customers and or a continuity program like a monthly membership or a platinum council or some sort of ongoing high-level elite access program where people are paying you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. In exchange for that, they get a very high-level strategic, exactly what to do right now webinar to help them get a certain outcome or meet a certain goal. Great for selling products and services. Don't sell the webinar, but if you have a course or you have consulting or mentoring or a $4,000 program, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 program, I have sold $30,000 programs on a webinar, and people have bought. No sales letter, no nothing, no fancy website, no sales page of any kind, webinar. And webinar value proposition and webinar points of proof and so on and so forth. These are numbers. This is the baby steps I promised you earlier. These are numbers from actual webinar launches before I knew what I was doing. So February 27th, 2014, that was a webinar day. Brought in $10,535. This was course sales in this case, online course sales. November 2014, again, look at the shopping cart there, the PayPal account, $13,877. The next one, I think I used Eventbrite for this one for some reason, so it looks different, $16,317. And then on February 25th of 2015, single sales day, $20,226.73. This was as I was figuring it out. These were incremental experiments. So type the word yes with a $sign if you'd like to get paydays like this before you know what you're doing and while you're figuring something out. This is called monetizing figuring it out. But go ahead and type in yes, or yes with a whole bunch of $signs as I'm seeing come in now. Type yes if you'd like to get those $10,000, $13,000, $16,000, or $20,000 paydays as you start to fumble and stumble and mess around with webinars. Remember, November 2012, I was fumbling and stumbling to the tune of $17,700. No sales page, no nothing. I said, hey, one-on-one is $5,500, mini consult $1,200, Send me an email if you want one. Sold 3 at 5,500, sold 1 at 1,200. By that Friday, the funds had cleared the bank, and I said, I think I'm onto something. I think I'm onto something. Now, you might be saying, well, gosh, Newman, that's great. You're showing us historical data from 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. What about today? What about COVID-19? Is anyone buying this crazy crap that you're selling on a webinar? Well, they are. So this is the snapshot of March to April, right? March 1st to April 1st, 30-day period, straight out of Samcart, driven by, guess what? A webinar, 104,635. Now, are you going to have that kind of sale number on day one? You're not. But a few years into the future, it wouldn't have to take you 8 years. It took me 8 years because I'm the slow kid on the bus. Could this be you in 2 or 3 years? I think it could. But you got to start today. Could you be up to 10, 15, 20K per month in the next few months? You can. You can. I know you can because I've had clients do it. So that was that. Here's the most recent snapshot I took on, what was that, Saturday? So I was preparing these slides. Not really a big drop, 99,749. So in this environment, if your offer is relevant, in this environment, if your offer is valuable, in this environment, if your clients know you, like you, and trust you, and have a high degree of confidence that you can help them get an outcome that you know you can get them, they will buy. They will buy, they will buy, they will buy, and they will buy from a webinar. Just like this $99,749 in the last 30 days came in from one source and one source only, my webinars. And I will teach you to do this, not to this level, because obviously there's a lot of other factors going into this, but can you grow to this? Can you scale to this? Is this possible? Is this possible today in the middle of COVID-19 crazy town? It is, and we are going to make sure that it is for you. We're going to make sure that it is for you. So, webinar power, best way to market online, best way to build a list, best way to get joint venture partners, easiest way to get sponsors, improve on everything that you do from your positioning to the leads that you get to the sales that you make. That is the ultimate power. That only webinars is nothing else that does this. You can say, oh, what about social media? What about Instagram? What about getting a whole bunch of videos out there? What about YouTube marketing? What about Facebook ads? No, and no again. Webinars. Webinars is the singular strategy that has this kind of power that does all of these things all wrapped up in one. So, teach, transform, transact. That's the formula. You get on a webinar, you train and teach. Prospects love that, especially now. If you try and pitch right now, my mantra has always been, you got to focus on helping before pitching, and you got to focus on serving before selling. We're living in an attention economy. Now, the attention economy is on steroids because of the current crisis. You need to earn their attention before you will ever earn their money. That means you have to build trust, authority, and credibility. You have to establish yourself as an expert, not by saying so, but by proving it. Engaged, committed, and responsive prospects. Here's what happens when people buy from you on a webinar. If you have a course that has a money-back guarantee, let's say it's a $997, $1497 course, webinar buyers will refund less because they now have a direct experience of you. They buy at higher prices, they buy more often. They will open more of your emails, they will click on more of your links, and they will take more action. We have proved this. We send millions and millions of emails every year. Literally millions of emails. And we don't have millions of people on the list. We have about 40,000 people on the list. And many of you know we email every single day. So even over the course of a 30-day period, 30 days, 40,000 people, that's 3 times 40 is 120. So that's 1.2 million emails per month. We send 1.2 million emails per month. 30 days, 40,000 people. Kind of crazy. So this is borne out in the stats. And they are the most engaged people. The folks that come on a webinar, express interest in a webinar, even people, check this out. No one's here to corroborate this because listen to this. People that sign up for a webinar and don't show up, like you all showed up, you're going to stay to the end. We're going to have a fabulous Q&A. You're going to love it. They are more engaged and more responsive. They signed up for the webinar, never showed up live, but they will open the email, they will watch the replay, they will consume the next series of content that is your post-webinar follow-up strategy. Very, very interesting. You would think only the people that show up live on the webinar are the engaged ones. They're not. It's the hungry audience that wants your content, whether they showed up or not. I mentioned sponsored webinars. We're going to touch on it a little bit later. This is a little bit later. Sponsored webinars, I am so excited about this, I can't even get started. My head's popping off right now. Put you and your topic, this is as far as the corporate sponsor, it puts you and your topic in front of their customers, their prospects, their dealers, their franchisees, their distributors. This is now, whatever your content is, it has been converted into a sales and marketing initiative for that sponsor. It is now all about helping them with sales, helping them with marketing, helping them with customer loyalty, helping them with customer retention, which in this current environment is huge, upselling and cross-selling and getting more top of mind, share of wallet. They know that their corporate sales team is not going to win more deals right now by selling. And they don't have the intellectual horsepower and the intellectual property that you do. You show up saying, I can help you get in front of your customers, prospects, dealers, franchisees, distributors, etc., with a value message, not with a sales message. And that's going to help you sell more. Every VP of marketing, VP of sales, or VP of business development will talk to you. In this current environment right now, they will talk to you. You provide value, brand building, and goodwill towards that sponsor, and it positions them for the restart while helping them sell more right now. Screenshot this slide. If you do nothing else, please screenshot this slide, print it out, stick it on your wall, make this happen in your business. This is the number one strategy that so many people are overlooking. I teach it, I preach it, I will show you how to do this step by step if you want that. But if you already have some experience with some of these building blocks, this is your path forward. I would say for the next 3 to 6 months, if you double down on just this, you'll make 15, 20K per month extra. Easy. Easy. Easy, easy, easy. From 1 to 10, give me a scale here. 1 is not excited at all. 1 is, Newman, why did I waste my time on this gosh darn webinar? 10 is, holy smokes, I've seen my future. Sign me up, coach. From 1 to 10 or anywhere in between numbers are okay. Pop in the question box. Tell me, how excited are you genuinely about the potential of webinar lead generation, webinar marketing, and webinar sales in your business, given what we've talked about so far? And the whole tactical, practical nuts and bolts is coming up here in a minute. Tell me, how excited are you now about the strategic overview of what this can do in your business? And I'm going to look for some numbers in here. And thank you for all the amens. The amens just kept on coming there. 11, 8, 10, 9.5, woohoo, a 10, 100, 10, 11, couple of 8s, that's cool, 7, 10, 8.5 says Carol. Alana's a 7, Sandra's a 10, Richard is a 10, ready to go, coach. Tom is a 4, still cautious. Thank you for being honest. No problem, no peer pressure. Karen's a 10, Irene's a 10, Terry's 7.5. I like Jonathan coming in at 9.87. Mike is 10 plus. Lori's a 7. Debbie and Melanie both at 8. My head is spinning. Very exciting. 10 says Lynn. 8 says Greg. 10 says Michael. Cool. All right. So we have some people who are excited. people lukewarm, people, simmering. It's all good. Now, here's the outcome of webinars for me. This is over the last 5 years, 435 folks in our mentoring programs, 41 people, now 43 because we just signed up 2 last week, 43 people in our Platinum Council Mastermind, our big year-long program, 203 live-led courses, meaning back in the bad old days, 2010, 11, 12, live-led courses before they were automated. We did that. 2019 tax bill, over 6 figures. 2019 donations, 75,000. We're trying to get that to 100 eventually. One of my life goals and bucket list items is getting that to $1 million of donations to causes and charitable things, because God knows they need it right now. And then 2019 maxed out the SEP IRA. Webinars, 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 webinars. These numbers would not be anywhere near this level if it weren't for the webinar marketing, sales, and growth strategies that I'm teaching you. So, scalability is another question, and we can make this kind of super quick here. What would your life and business look like if you're prospecting, just the prospecting part? Prospecting and lead generation was 100% scalable, and you no longer had to chase onesies. I know one of the things that's exhausting for most expert-driven business owners is chasing onesies. One email comes in, one phone call comes in, one prospect wants to knock on your door, kick the tires, waste your time, etc. What if you could prospect 30 people at a time, 50 people at a time, 80 people at a time, 100 people at a time? Would that change materially your results, do you think, if your prospecting was 100% scalable? Awesome, fantastic, yes, 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 yes. Secure, way more comfortable, yes. Exactly. Exactly, exactly, exactly. I love the answers rolling in. Exactly right. Totally agree. That's what happened to me back when I was doing this in 2014 and 2015. I no longer was chasing people. We no longer had the disappearing prospect syndrome. The emails go into a black hole. The voicemails go unanswered. We're now drawing people in. We're drawing people in with a webinar sales machine. Here is how I would recommend you build your webinar sales machine. You have to master 5 moving parts. Number 1, getting folks to sign up, getting them to show up, getting them to stick to the end, have a high converting offer, and then what's your post game with replays, emails, and follow-ups. Let's dig into each one of these. Number 1, getting people to sign up. Solve one high relevance problem. Do not go tutti frutti on me. One high relevance problem. Use specific, tangible outcomes. The outcome of this webinar is you will learn how to market, sell, and generate leads in a COVID-19 environment with webinars. That was it. Are there some moving parts and some subsets and some detours and some strategic things and some tactical things that I wanted to show you in the service of that outcome? Of course. That's called value. That's called specificity. That's called teaching. But this is not how to do webinars, Facebook Lives, video series, and blog posts to pull in your best clients. When you start going tutti frutti, people don't sign up. People don't sign up, they tune out. Urgency and immediacy are baked in. It's a live event that's happening on a certain date and time. Give them training in advance. Now, be honest. Maybe you saw some of the pre-marketing emails. Maybe you saw none. Maybe you saw all. Was I sending out articles, cheat sheets, PDFs, and webinar-related training goodies even before you got here? Pop in the question box. If you received anything of value from me along with the webinar invitation, were there some emails, PDFs, resources, links that you got before showing up here? The answer is yes. Depending on when, if you signed up like 5 minutes before we started today, then no. But other than that, you remember getting these. I sent out some training in advance. That gets people excited about showing up, which is our next step. As far as webinar signups, use your real estate wisely. Make sure that your thank you page for any other offer goes on to share the webinar. Hey, whitelist this email address, put a little ad on your website, put a sidebar on your blog, put this as the link for your social media, put it in your email signature file, do a couple Facebook Live videos about it, and that is how people will sign up. You're doing a full court press. The most important thing for 5 days before this webinar date, you should promote nothing else other than get your tushy on the webinar. Get your tushy on the webinar. Everything drives people to the webinar if you want to get them to sign up. Second challenge, they sign up, well, you need them to show up. God bless you all. You have put up with the tsunami of emails. You're getting 3 waves of emails, 5 days before, 3 days before, and you got 2 today. You got 2 today. You're welcome. You got the 9 a.m. reminder, and you got the 30 minutes, hey guys, we're about to hop on. So day of, 9 a.m. reminder. Notice this is for the registrants. You can also do it to your full list or to your openers. It's up to you. T-minus 30. Sam, who's my fabulous operations manager, we always talk about, hey, is 9 a.m. ready? Is T-minus 30 queued up? Is it going out? Is it going out? This becomes like religion, that we have to do 9 a.m. and T-minus 30. If you want to really bother people, which I did not do this time, do a T-minus 15, it's not too late, or a T+5, and say, hey, we just started. Hey, we just started. It's not too late. Hop on. So webinar starts at 3 o'clock Eastern, 3:05 Eastern. I could have sent that out. I didn't. You're welcome. But it's a strategy. If you want to use video email, like BombBomb, that is a great way to get your webinar registrants excited about showing up. And then the indoctrination sequence between the time that they sign up and the time of the webinar, send them more goodies. Build trust, build value, build anticipation up until the live event. That is your show up strategy. Number 3, stick to the end. Well, see how I'm doing so far. Don't suck. Don't suck. Add value, but don't overteach. Everything I'm talking about now, I am going deep into one subject. We have not talked about Facebook Lives. We will never talk about Facebook Lives. Not on this webinar, not in this program. We are not talking about YouTube video marketing. Not on this webinar, not on this program. Do not cram extra crap into your webinar that they do not need. The structure, which you're about to see, front row seat, live in person, introduction, content, transition, offer, Q&A, and close. I put this in here so I can't chicken out. I sort of have to make you an offer. I have to do the Q&A, and I have to close up the webinar, send you on your way, pat you on your head, and say thanks for coming. Make a big promise at the open, which we did. Engage eyes, ears, and fingers. Now, meta level, engage eyes, ears, and fingers. Hey guys, can you see me and hear me okay? Type in the question box. Boom, 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 boom. Fantastic. Hey, who's a consultant? Who's a coach? Who's a trainer? Who's a speaker? Fantastic. Hey, type in the question box how you'd feel about this outcome or that outcome. Engage, ask, and poll. I have been engaging you, asking you, and polling you the whole time. The whole time. Very unsophisticated. You don't need fancy software and add-ons and crazy stuff. How many times have I said, hey, that's coming up? We're talking about that later on. We're going to have a big Q&A at the end. First, let me show you. And then as I delivered the goods, you might have heard me say, this is the tactics I promised you. This is the money part that we talked about earlier. This is where I'm delivering on that promise. So open loops that you don't deliver on make you a scumbag. Open loops that you deliver on keep people excited, engaged, and looking forward to what's next. Think of it like a radio DJ and you're doing station breaks. You want them to come back after the commercial. So you tell them what's coming up after the break, you deliver, do the next one, keep the open loops coming. As you close one, you open the next one. You know, we have this other thing coming up. It's super exciting. First, let me tell you about this because this is really foundational. This is really important. I've been doing that throughout. True or false? Psych. See, true or false? Type true or false. Have I been doing that in the question box. Now everyone's having an out-of-body experience. Is he teaching us? Is he teaching us, or is he doing it to us? Yes. The answer, my friends, is yes. My very favorite clients, our very best clients, they say, David, you know what I love about you? You're either teaching it to us or doing it to us, and we should pay attention to both. I said, yes, you're correct. You should pay attention to both. Because that's called integrity. That's called only teaching what you have mastered. You haven't mastered it, you shouldn't be teaching it. Let me repeat that. You haven't mastered it, you should not be teaching it in any way, shape, or form, including webinars. Number 4, offers that convert. Work backwards, figure out what your offer is going to be, whether it's coaching, consulting, online course, mastermind group, CEO roundtable, mentorship program. Work your content backwards so that everything in your webinar leads them to that natural conclusion. Thus, the offer is a natural extension of the value that you've already provided before any money changes hands, and even if no money changes hands. A webinar should be of great value to people who don't buy. Bonuses should be relevant, shortcuts, or done for you aspects. Bonuses should be objection killers. Urgency and scarcity, but don't play games with this on a webinar. Do not play games with this. This needs to be real, otherwise you'll be seen as a slime ball. You can either limit time, limit quantity, limit access to you, or bonuses go away after a certain time or a certain quantity number has been hit. So lots of ways to do genuine urgency and genuine scarcity. Those are 4 of them. Limit time, limit quantity, limit access, or limit the bonuses. After a webinar, I don't like live encores. I always do replays. To me, a live encore is a waste of time because I've marketed the first one so heavily, anything else would be annoying. Most people buy, sign up, or take the action that you want them to take on the live webinar. You can show screenshots of comments and emails. That's your indisputable points of proof. You can launch new pricing plans. You can add bonuses after the replay is up. You can use things like countdown timers. The follow-up emails, just like the lead-up emails, really need to add value. Here's direct versus indirect. A direct sale webinar is buy this thing. Buy this course for $997. Buy this thing for $500, right? I did a direct sale for a $5,500 program back in 2012 and a $1,200 program. Direct sale, buy this thing, right? Link to a shopping cart or checkout, courses, software, membership. If you're new, I don't recommend doing direct sale with anything more than $2,000. Less than $2,000, perfect for direct sale, perfect. An indirect sale is there is an intermediate step that they cannot buy on the webinar. They have to apply. They have to have an appointment with you. They have to book a decision call. They have to book a breakthrough session. They have to have an initial consult or audit or some front-end conversation to see which program they qualify for, because you might have a $10,000, $30,000, and $100,000 program. So you want to talk to the person to see which of your programs is appropriate. This is for your elite mentoring programs, high-fee coaching, high-fee masterminds, corporate consulting, CEO roundtables, $5, $10, $30, $50, $100,000 programs. This could go way, way, way high. But this is, hey, let's book a call. Let's book a discovery session. Let's book an exploratory chat. We'll figure out what you need. We'll put you in the right program. That's an indirect sale. All you're selling there is the call, right? Direct sale, buy this thing. Indirect sale, apply, let's talk. Here's why this makes sense to do webinars in this current environment. No need for immediate list building. Webinars can generate cash fast. Fine-tune and sharpen your content as you go, but get paid now. I showed you those trial balloon paydays of $10,000, $13,000, $16,000, then $20,000. Build small, scale it later as a proven expert with authority and track record. And basically, that is what I want to share with you. I'm going to go into our Q&A here in a little bit. I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about the next step. Because frankly, you might be coming in with all kinds of different assets, experience level, expertise. I'm not sure exactly why you showed up today, It could be you're simply tired of hearing, hey, you should do webinars, but not knowing where to begin. Or you want to impact more people remotely and stop being a best kept secret, especially now during this COVID-19 crisis. Or, like me, deep down, you know that doing one to many prospecting and selling will get you more leads, better prospects, and bigger sales, especially now. Not in spite of right now, but because of right now. Because of this moment that we're living in, webinars are your secret weapon. Webinars for prospecting, webinars for sales, webinars for program delivery, webinars for sponsorship. This is a now strategy. This is a now strategy, my friends. If there's one thing to take away from today, I have cracked the code on how to create, market, and fill high-fee webinars with great people. Look at the great person sitting in your chair right now. You're here, there's a reason. And it changed my entire world. Changed my income, changed my business, changed my life from 100K years to 100K months that I just showed you. It is very much a replicable system and process that you can make happen in the next 60 days. So here's your decision, my friends. Information alone is not going to cut it. You need a system and accountability and mentoring, and you've got a choice. Life is always about choices. You can do it slowly using trial and error in some of what I shared today, or you can do it quickly and apply for my high-fee webinars 8-week mentorship that I'll take just a couple of minutes and share with you now before we cycle into our big mega Q&A session to answer all of your questions about today's teaching and today's strategies. High-fee webinars will help you design, package, test your idea, help you build a fill-in-the-blank webinar skeleton. You're getting my fill-in-the-blank webinar skeleton that is the raw DNA of every webinar I've ever done, including this one. There is a skeleton and a flow and a process. I'm going to give you that template. It's literally fill in the blank. This goes on slide 1. This goes on slide 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. Content slide, story slide, transition slide, offer slide, urgency slide, deadline slide, pricing slide. You're getting my entire webinar DNA skeleton. To create your flagship lead generating and sales webinar that you can use to sell your high-fee services, programs, coaching, courses, all the things that we've been mentioning the whole time, whether it's $1,000 or $30,000 more, less, or astronomically more, you're getting every template, every document, every sample that you need. From landing pages, the lead-up emails I talked about, the replay strategy, the follow-ups, even the application form, if there's an application form required for your program, like there always are for my programs. So you're getting everything. We're going to help you build your first high-fee webinar from the ground up, review your offer and application. You're getting my customized flipped sales script, so when people get on a discovery call with you, you know how to close more of those sales. You're going to get live ammo feedback on your actual calls. We're going to do a role play, or you can upload a recorded sales call. And you're going to get detailed enrollment conversation coaching. If I taught you how to do webinar selling and did not show you and teach you and coach you on how to sell on the phone call, that would be professional malpractice. So we're going to take it from the webinar to the sales conversation to you getting a check or a credit card. That's how detailed we're going to get. So you're getting the lead generating webinar workshop. You are getting the sales webinar workshop. We're going to design your sales webinar, craft your offer, make sure you have the right call to action, and the sales mindset, tool set, scripting, and live feedback to make it real. So how will you be successful? Information, not going to cut it. Information's free. Inspiration, you're inspired plenty. You don't need that. Recommendation, good idea. You're never going to hold your own feet to the fire. This is about implementation and outcomes. And everything in high-fee webinars is about implementation and outcomes because that's where you make the money. Ideas do not generate money. The ideas that you implement generate money. We have a relentless focus on results. We're getting a private high-fee webinars Facebook group, weekly web conference with me. You get personal, never stuck email access to me, which people do not get in our other programs, including our $10,000 program. But you're getting personal, never stuck email access to me. And if you do the work, you will have a high-fee webinar packaged, positioned in place, and ready to make sales in the next 60 days. So you're getting the lead gen workshop, the sales workshop, the conversion, role play, tool set, scripting, and 8 weeks of weekly calls, action planning, personalized email support from me. If you were to put all of that together, it would be $10,991. Even if you closed one 10K client off of a webinar anytime in the next 12 months, this would pay for itself. And it's going to pay for itself many, many times over. But we're not doing $10,991. Here's what we're doing. We should do like $5,000, but we're not doing $5,000. What we're doing is we're doing $36.97. $36.97. A payment plan is available. If you're an alumni, meaning that you've done another program with us before, you will pay less. And there's an alumni rate and an alumni payment plan as well. The place to go to apply, because you can't buy it right here, right now, but the place to go to apply is highfeewebinars.com. When you go to highfeewebinars.com, we're going to pop that into the chat so you have it handy. And then we're going to do our Q&A here after we just cycle through this little part. highfeewebinars.com, you are going to get an application. You're going to land on my calendar for a decision call tomorrow, the next day, maybe into Friday. Here's what's going to happen. And here's why we do it this way. We don't take everyone. And I love this quote. You should feel equally proud of what you sell as to who you sell it to. So if you want to apply for this, go to highfeewebinars.com. We do not take everyone, and you need to apply for the same reasons I mentioned earlier. I am modeling the steps for you. So when you enroll people, you're not going to take every Tom, Dick, Harry, or Jane either. You're going to have an application or a decision call or some process where you get to filter and sort the people that you know will have success in your program. So I'm modeling those steps for you. When you go to highfeewebinars.com, you can keep this window open, keep that application open. It's going to ask you maybe about a dozen questions about you and your business and where webinars might fit in. When you finish that, you're going to land on my calendar. I'm going to show you that in a second. We'll walk through the screens real quick before we do the Q&A. Why do this now? Because you want to get paid beyond the stage even when stages come back. Right now, there are no stages. They're all virtual, but they are going to come back in some way, shape, or form. I want you to be never dependent on live events ever again. I want you to be able to help more of your clients and audiences to be successful with what they're going through right now. Scale your business for less travel, less stress, and less uncertainty, because a webinar strategy is your insurance policy. Imagine if you did a companion webinar. This is another idea. And you're not doing this, you're leaving $10,000 to $20,000 on the table. A companion webinar after every live keynote, every breakout, where you can now make an offer because you're converting that audience into your audience. You're saying, hey, we're doing a special webinar just for you who were here at this conference. Hop on, it's Friday, it's 2 o'clock. 40, 50, 60 people out of your audience come onto that webinar. You have a $5,000 offer. 3 of them buy it. You just made $15,000. You just made $15,000. Your speaking fee to go to that thing might not have been $15,000. Maybe it was $5,000, and now you're making $15,000 off the webinar after every single speech, every training day, every keynote, every breakout session that you ever do for the rest of your professional career. If you're not opening up that window at highfeewebinars.com, I'm not sure what you're smoking. But this is a game changer for now and forever. 2 guarantees, if you're still on the fence about this. 2 guarantees. Guarantee number 1, hop into HiFi Webinars for 30 days, work with me personally in a small group. If you don't love it, if I've got a funky haircut one day, if I've got my COVID hair, I still can't go to the barber, you don't like my glasses, you don't like my sweater, if you don't love it, we're going to give you every penny back. 30 days to fully immerse yourself. It's an 8-week program. You can do half of it. You can do 4 of the weeks, right? Day 30, you're like, yeah, Newman, I wasn't crazy about your glasses that you had on Thursday. I wasn't wild about that sweater. Come on, it's May, it's June, it's too hot for a sweater. I'm out. Give me the refund, give me the money back. Fine. 100% of the risk is on me. Because if I don't feel you'll be successful, I'm not going to let you in, right? Application process. Your house, your rules. Guarantee number one. Guarantee number two. Results guarantee. You have a program guarantee that if you don't like it, you don't think it's going to work for you, then you're out. Program guarantee is great. Results guarantee is even better. You will earn at least $10,000 from your high fee webinar, or we will work with you until you do. That is a better than risk-free guarantee. And I would encourage you to hop into the application form right now at highfeewebinars.com. We're going to get into our Q&A, answer some questions. People can fill out the application during the Q&A if you want to do that. Here's some bonuses. Remember I said bonuses should be objection killers. One of the objections we get with webinars is, David, I've never done this before. I have no idea how to even start with webinars. Bonus number one is, how do I begin? One-on-one private kickoff call with me. I charge $1,000 per hour of consulting. People pay it. I don't know why, but they do. For the first 3 applicants who apply now and who join high fee webinars, we're doing a private one-on-one to kick off your program. How do I begin? So to recap, lead generation webinars, you'll have that in your pocket. Sales webinars, you'll have that in your pocket. High fee selling workshop about what to do on the phone when they book a call with you. Sales mindset, tool set, scripting, live ammo feedback. 8 weeks of accountability with me personally. Kickoff call for personalized guidance, strategy, and tailored help based on where you are. Altogether, $11,991. You're not paying that. We talked about this, $36.97. $36.97. Alumni pay less. $36.97. There's a payment plan. Alumni can pay less, and the pay less has a payment plan as well. Second bonus. David, how do I know my webinar is on the right track? I would love someone, aka you, Newman. Can you critique and review my webinar? Can you give me a page-by-page breakdown of what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong? Yes. I ordinarily charge $3,000 for this, but you are getting a personal webinar critique with detailed feedback, changes, revisions, markup from me. For the first 6 people who applied during this webinar, during the Q&A we're about to kick into, and are invited to join high fee webinars. So highfeewebinars.com, that's going to take you to the type form. It's going to go to my calendar. I'm going to show you those screens in a minute. So now we've got lead gen, sales, selling on the phone, accountability program, kickoff call with me, personal webinar critique, detailed written feedback, critique, and the exact revisions you need to make to turn your webinar into a sales machine. Ordinarily, I charge $3,000 to do a webinar critique at that level. $14,991. There's no more room on the slide, so we're done. It's not $14,991. It's $36.97. $36.97 with a payment plan. Alumni save a little bit more. Here's how it works. highfeewebinars.com. You're going to get the questionnaire. It's going to say high fee webinars, get more leads, prospects, and sales now. Click here to start. That's going to kick off the questionnaire. You're going to answer those dozen or so questions. Then you're going to go to my schedule. You're going to pick a time. We've got some time starting tomorrow, which is the 27th. I'm going to open my calendar here for a few more slots if we start to fill up. And then complete this info. Put in your name, email, phone. This is my private personal booking link that I use with private clients. So please type high fee webinars in the note field. In the note field, type high fee webinars. So I know that's what we're talking about. We're having a decision call to see if it makes sense for us to do this together. High fee webinars. I would love to have that note just so I know that you're coming off this webinar and it's not some other thing or some other source. So you're going to do that. You're going to click on the done button, and then you're in charge of what happens tomorrow. We can go back into woe is me, onesie, twosie prospecting. This is hard. This is slow. This is painful. COVID, COVID, COVID. Or we can leap forward. and get yourself post-COVID-19 ready with one-to-many lead generation, one-to-many sales, one-to-many delivery, and unleash the power of webinars, not only right now, and not only with that sponsored webinar strategy, but for the rest of your professional career. When we are in the restart and you now have a hybrid business model that can be online, offline, webinar driven in either case, and every live event can be followed with a webinar that will bring in $10,000 or $15,000, that's what your new normal is going to look like. That's what your new normal is going to look like. So I would encourage you to apply now while we're in our Q&A here. Next 48 hours, I've got time on my calendar totally set aside for this. Single payment of $36.97. Payment plans are available. Get the kickoff call with me to make sure you're in the first 3. Personal webinar critique with written feedback and revisions. That's for the first 6. On the questionnaire, please be as complete and detailed as possible. If you're not sure, if you're like, oh boy, yeah, well, maybe I can, maybe I can't, not sure I have the content, not sure I have the tech skills, not sure I have whatever, tell you what, apply anyway, and we'll figure it out together on the phone. If you're not right for this program, I am not going to invite you in. It doesn't make any sense. With the guarantees, the refund, whatever, I'd just be wasting my time if I invite the wrong people in. I only invite people in that I have a high degree of confidence that you will be successful and that this will change your world. So pop over right now, highfeewebinars.com is where to go to get in on the application so we can chat tomorrow or Wednesday, or tomorrow is Wednesday, tomorrow or Thursday, 48 hours. And then if you only landed one extra 5K client per month, just one, you do a live webinar, you get one sale, one incremental sale at 5K, and you do that every month, that would be $60,000 of added revenue and no more exhausting one-to-one prospecting, chasing, or begging to get hired. I think that would be worth it in and of itself. Of course, you get a lot more than one client per month, but even at that very bare minimum level, it puts $60,000 into your pocket over the next 12 months. And not only do you not have to beg anymore, they start chasing you because you're now seen as a person of value and credibility, and you are offering pre-sale value to people who need you the most. If you're still here and you're waiting for the Q&A, you don't have that form open, there are only excuses left. Program doesn't work, I've got you totally covered with the bulletproof guarantee. Do not worry about that. If the program doesn't work, we wouldn't have the results and the success and the client success stories that we have. I can't afford it. I don't know that you can't afford not to do it. In this time and age between the sponsored webinars and the follow-up webinars, it would be insane not to unleash this profit center in your business. So the final thing is, it won't work for me. We have the program guarantee and the results guarantee. Like I said, if it won't work for you, I'm not going to let you in. I wouldn't waste your time. I wouldn't waste my time. So those excuses are gone. I'm seeing the applications come in now here at highfeewebinars.com. We're about to jump into our Q&A. I do want to hang out here, answer as many questions as you have. I've got the entire afternoon blocked here to do that. Like I said, I'm happy to hang out here and outnumber you. Just to recap the full Monty: high fee lead generation workshop, high fee sales webinar workshop, high fee selling on the phone workshop, accountability program, 8 weeks working personally with me, bonus kickoff call, personal webinar critique, altogether $14,991. We're not doing that. We're doing $36.97 with a payment plan, with an alumni discount. Here's what to do now: highfeewebinars.com. I'm going to start the magic timer. And who has the first question? And we will pop into that first question about any of today's teaching, any of the content, the webinar strategy, which was the first half of our time together, the webinar tactics, the 5 steps: get them to sign up, get them to show up, get them to stay to the end. So you're here at the end. Welcome, wonderful, fantastic. An offer that converts, bonuses that are objection busters, and then post-webinar, what to do after the webinar, replays, emails, more value, even to the folks who decide this is not for them. So you're showing up of value whether they invest with you or not. That is the key. Value, integrity, pre-sale value. Post-sale value, everyone promises. Oh, it's going to be a great program. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. Oh, when we do this coaching, this consulting, this training, it's going to be a game changer for you. I want you to show me. I don't want you to tell me. I want you to show me that it's going to be a fantastic, amazing game changer. That's what I want, because I'm picky that way. I'm just a little bit picky that way. So let me pop in to our questions here. And I always forget to pop this thing out. There we go. Now we're popped out. Now I can actually see what's going on instead of that little teeny tiny window. All right. Bernadette, is this for people who sell to companies? My audience is not other entrepreneurs, small business owners, etc. Bernadette, this program is perfect for selling to companies. Because remember, the sponsorship strategy is a corporate sales strategy. And then anything that you do for a corporate buyer needs to add value before you ask for the sale. So great question, Bernadette. I would totally sign up for a decision call at highfeewebinars.com. We can break down your specific situation about what kind of companies you sell to, what your topic expertise is, how all of that good stuff works, and let's break it down on the call. So Bernadette, it's a resounding yes. Webinars are awesome for selling to companies. I would say about half of our high fee webinar folks are in fact selling to companies and have sold successfully into companies using the webinar strategy or the sponsorship strategy. And Michael says, what kind of mic are you using? You sound great. Well, thank you, Michael. So the mic I'm using, no pun intended there, Michael's asking about the mic. It is an 8-year-old ancient battle tank of a blue snowball microphone. One of the things we'll talk about in high fee webinars is I am a huge believer in low tech, no tech. I do not have a fancy headset. I do not. In fact, let me turn on the camera here while we're yakking. I'll just show you. All right, there I am. Can you guys see my smiling face? Am I coming on screen there? I can't see myself here, but if you can see me, fantastic. Blue snowball microphone right there. See this guy? Blue snowball microphone. And I've got two $30 lights from Amazon. And what we're watching here is GoToWebinar, and that is it. I don't have a home studio. I don't have the big microphone thing that's got, spider legs coming into my face. I don't have a beautiful DSLR video camera to make me look fantastic. I'm a huge believer in low tech, no tech. People are going to come onto your webinar for the value, not for the cool technology. Do you need to sound good? Yeah. You need to look good? Yeah. That's about it. That is about it. So Michael, if you want to look good and feel good, I would recommend you book a chat. Let's you and me have a quick chat, highfeewebinars.com. Sam, is my video on? I just can't see it because I'm full screen here, so I don't know. I don't know what people are seeing. They might be seeing me. They might not be seeing me. Doesn't really matter. It's all good. Yes, my video is on. Thank you. Fantastic. Next, Sharon says, what percentage of your post-webinar sales are selling a paid webinar versus mentoring, consulting, etc.? So it's funny. Some people in some industries, they make very few sales live on the webinar. If we're talking direct sales, not the indirect sale. So this is an indirect sale. What you and I are doing right now, Sharon, is an indirect sale, right? You're interested in the program, you're booking a call, you're coming onto high fee webinars. We're going to have a conversation about, is the program right for me? How does it work? How does it apply? At that point, we decide if it's a green light or not. If it's a direct sale, it's funny. In some industries, it's all live, very little on the replay. In other industries or other topics, it's 30% live and 70% come via the replay or the follow-up emails or closing the shopping cart or, hey, last day to register, last day to sign up. So it really depends. It really depends. I would say 80% of the folks that are going to apply for high fee webinars in my world are doing so right now, and I see them coming in. So thank you. It's awesome. When you go to highfeewebinars.com, you do the application, you get on my calendar. 80% of that traffic is going to come right now in the next 20, 30 minutes as we're doing the Q&A. So 20% will come with the replay. This is my world. 20% will come with the replay and the follow-up emails and the follow-up value add. So the value add that after the webinar, you want to not only send the replay, but send additional resources to help them. And when you send additional resources to help them, like, maybe I should watch that replay. Maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. Maybe this is something I should get into. Maybe all this positive buzz is worth something. And so then they'll watch the replay, then they'll book a call, then we'll have a decision chat from there. So it really depends. There's no one typical set of stats. It depends on you, your target market, your audience, what you're selling, how you're selling it, direct versus indirect, and so on. Really fantastic question. Ted and Doug and Carol and some other people too are asking, what software do you recommend for the webinar itself? I have tried everything. I've tried the minor players, the major players, the Google players, everybody. Webinar Jam. One is called Uber Conference. I tried, Zoom webinars. The one that is bulletproof, and if you've got tens of thousands of dollars of sales on the line, you want it to be bulletproof, this is GoToWebinar. I swear by GoToWebinar. GoToWebinar, nothing is bulletproof or foolproof. This is the most bulletproof platform. This will crap out the least. This will chew up your recordings the least. This will cost you money the least. One story I did not tell you about that $16,000 webinar. I showed you the PayPal with the 10,000, 13,000, 16,000, 20,000. The $16,000 webinar, and it was a learning experience. I said to the group, can you see my screen? And can you hear me okay? They all said yes, 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 yes. I started doing the webinar. And I don't think Sam was on this webinar with me, so I didn't have a co-pilot. I'm looking at the webinar and I see the chat just lighting up. The chat's just lighting up like crazy. Can't see your screen. Can't see your screen. Where's your slides? Where's your slides? Can't see what you're talking about. And I was thinking to myself, what is wrong with this picture? I said, can you see my screen? Can you hear my voice? Everyone said yes, 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 yes. What I didn't ask is, are you seeing a gray, empty rectangle? Because I didn't start screen sharing. So when they say, can you see, I said, can you see my screen? Can you see that blank gray rectangle? Yes, David, we can see the blank gray rectangle. I totally messed up that webinar. We still made $16,000 of sales. I think that was mercy sales, or pity, or something else going on there. But it was very interesting. I had a blank webinar. But remember, all the things we talk about, are you offering value with your voice? Yes. Do you have a compelling offer to engage them with your voice? I sold $16,000 on a voice-only webinar with no slides because I followed the principles and the templates that you're getting in high-fee webinars. So you want to have a reliable platform that's not going to blow up on you or show a gray box when you have money on the line, but that's GoToWebinar. So I would totally use GoToWebinar. Irene is asking, how long is the one-on-one with me? So the one-on-one with me, it's a kickoff call. It's about an hour. So it could be 45 minutes, could be a little bit longer. Generally, it's to set where you are, give you specific marching orders, tell you what to look at in the program, give you some specific support, given your assets and experience and expertise and what you're coming into the program with. So it is a strategy roadmap through the program that will help you shortcut, save a lot of time, save a lot of effort, and not have to start at square zero. So that's the story there. Bishal is saying, how do I generate viewers if I don't have a large following? So this is like I'm starting a blog. This is like I'm starting a YouTube channel. I'm starting doing webinars. When you first started doing your blog, you had one reader, and then you had a second reader that was your mom or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your dog or your cat. And then you had 3, and then you had 7, and then you had 11, and then you had 40, and then you had 63, and it just grows. Now, intentionally growing your list, right? Social media, email marketing, joint venture partners, sponsors, all of these different things that we talked about, that eliminates the need for building your own list because now you can tap into other people's audiences. And I really recommend if you're just starting out, you literally have no list and no traction whatsoever, no following of any kind, the joint venture strategy, the sponsor strategy, the partnering strategy around webinars is going to be critically important. So again, I would recommend for folks asking the technology questions, the hey, I have no followers questions, highfeewebinars.com, book a call, get in there, let's figure it out on the phone. Let's see what we can do with where you are and what you've got. Michael says, I mainly speak to students at high school and college, helping them overcome anxiety and depression. Will this help with my demo? I guess you mean speaker demo. If not, I also speak to adults on the corporate front on the same topic, anxiety and depression. Is this course better for corporate or schools? I would say if it's a direct sale corporate, if it's a sponsor strategy, then schools. And you can cover both bases, Michael, if you want to. So you could have a webinar strategy that is using sponsors on the education side and is directly sold to corporations on the corporate side. Again, lots of layers to that answer, so we can figure it out together when you go to highfeewebinars.com, and we'll unpack both halves of that. Miles is asking, perhaps I missed this, but how do you make your potential audience aware of an upcoming webinar? So similar to Michael's question about audience generation and Bishal's question about what if I don't have a big following, you're going to use everything you have. We talked about use your real estate wisely. So this is everything from your website, your LinkedIn profile, your social media accounts, where you have a link to promote, your email signature file, the content marketing that you do, partner strategy, sponsor strategy. These are all sources of getting leads and prospects into your webinar. You want to use all of them. Like I said, it's a full court press. You're going to use everything you've got, online, offline, social media, email marketing, your database, no matter how small and tiny. There are people in that database who want to hear from you. I would check my email outbox. I would look at past clients, current clients, prospects. There's a lot of organic outreach that you can do to invite people to a webinar. And if the webinar is on point, and if the webinar is high relevance and high value, that is one of the easiest yeses you will ever get. So it is a very easy way to build your list. People say, what if can I do webinars if I don't have a list? You should do webinars to build your list. Let me repeat that. You should do webinars to build your list, especially if you don't have a list coming in. So great question, Miles. Again, I would recommend highfeewebinars.com. Get on the calendar, lets you and me talk about it, figure it out, see where to go from here. Irene says, this is my dream come true to do your program. Do you do the coaching once we sign up or give us over to subordinates? Oh, it sounds so harsh. The subordinates who coach us in your place. Irene, I have good news. This program is 100% with me. And also, I don't have subordinates. I have an amazing coaching team. The coaching team does our Speaker Profit Formula program. I personally lead this high fee webinar program. So you get 100% me 100% of the time. No mentor coaches, no colleagues of mine. It is me, 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 and more of me. So Irene, I have good news. By the end of this, you will be sick of me, but you will also have a high converting, fantastic webinar. So book the call. Let's figure out if that's the case for you. highfeewebinars.com. And thank you for those kind words about this is my dream come true. Doug says, are the slides that we see on the screen made in PowerPoint? They are. They are. Now, here's the other thing. These slides, and maybe there's an embedded compliment. Maybe you're like, oh my God, what horrendous design. Either way, beautiful, perfect slides are not a requirement. I've been accused of a lot of things. Having beautiful, perfect slides is not one of them. Are these slides okay? Are they credible? Are they decent? Sure. Do you need to have decent, credible slides that are not ugly or jammed up with words or illegible or, orange, fuchsia, and purple? Yes, I would avoid orange, fuchsia, and purple. But like you see here, these are text slides, a few images, not a lot of heavy lifting. Just like with the tech, I keep the PowerPoint super simple. I want it to be engaging. I want it to be relevant. I want it to support what we're talking about on the webinar. But remember, if all of your content is on the PowerPoint and you're presenting, one of you is unnecessary. I learned that early on in my professional speaking career, that if everything is on the PowerPoint and you're presenting the PowerPoint instead of presenting the presentation, one of you is unnecessary. Just send me the PowerPoint. I don't need you to read me the PowerPoint. So the PowerPoint is visual support. What they're really coming for is your teaching and your value. So really great question, Doug. Thank you. Pam says, how do you pitch other services when doing a sponsor webinar? Well, the beauty is there is no other pitch. So a sponsor webinar is me talking to Chase Manhattan Bank, to their high net worth depositors or credit holders, or their premier client group. So I'm not selling anything to them. Chase is paying me $5,000 or $10,000 per webinar to offer value to their client base that they want to get in front of. They want to add value to. It's a customer loyalty, customer retention, or customer acquisition strategy. So I'm not selling anything to the sponsor's clients. I am adding value to the sponsor's clients. The sponsor's paying me $5,000 or $10,000 per webinar to do that program. So I am getting paid by the sponsor. I am not selling to that audience. Does that make sense, Pam, as far as that's concerned? Anything else as far as questions? I know we had a whole bunch of questions flying by. If I missed your question or if your question came too early, feel free to retype your question. I really want to make sure that you have questions about today's training, today's teaching, the entire methodology I laid out for you. I want to be a resource for you and be helpful. Thomas says, love your podcast and these informative webinars. Awesome. Well, to move from informative webinar to transformative webinar, maybe book a call. I'm just saying, Thomas, I don't know your situation, but if this is ringing your bell, it might make sense to pop over to High Fee Webinars, do the application, and see if this might be a great fit for you. Like I said before, if it's not a great fit, I never pull people into the program. If you're not going to be successful, I'm not going to let you in. So it's totally about making sure that you're the right person coming in for the right reason, with the right mindset and the right skill set. All right, let's see. Michael, when does the course start? What a fantastic question. So we actually start, am I looking at May? We start in June. I want to say June 2nd, but that might not be right. But it might be right. But let me get to the back end of your question. Is there a time frame? There is. I just signed up for Danny Ini's course, which is totally fantastic. And I'll tell you, between what Danny's teaching you with courses and what I'm teaching you with webinars, that is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That is totally a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I hope, Michael, that you heard about Danny from me and through me, because I promoted his program very heavily over the past couple of weeks. It is world-class. It is stellar. I learned from Danny 10 plus years ago. We're still buddies to this day. Really, really great program. So I would do the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I know it sounds like a lot, but it is 100% in alignment and supplementary and complementary. It is not going to be conflicting. It is not going to be confusing. And you want to have the webinar strategy ready to go when the course is ready. So this is totally about dig your well before you're thirsty. And that's just my recommendation. I don't do this program a lot. If I said, oh, you know what, catch the next one, but I don't know if there's going to be a next one. The last time that we did this was summer of 2018, almost 2 years ago, So that was, this is not in our evergreen rotation. So I would recommend that you hop on, at least let's have a conversation about how to make that peanut butter and jelly sandwich work, Michael, for you, and then we'll take it from there. Karen says, will this webinar be posted to review again? Of course. Remember, follow-up emails, replay, call to action, book a call, book a freaking call. So you're going to get at least 2 or 3 follow-up emails. I would keep those. Make that your swipe file. Like I said earlier, Karen, I'm either teaching it to you or I'm doing it to you. Pay attention to both. So watch the stream of follow-up emails that you get and what's in them and what else is in there besides the replay and how are we adding value and how are we getting people that did not watch it live to go back and watch the replay. It's going to be very educational to have a front row seat. Of course, if we end up doing the High Fee Webinars program together, you're going to get a front row seat and personalized hand-holding to get every step of this process right and to get every step of this process in the right sequence, in the right order, in the right way with my personal help. So if that is cool, then feel free to pop over to highfeewebinars.com, do the questionnaire, pop onto my calendar for tomorrow or the next day, and let's do a quick decision call to see if this is a good move for you. Steve says, what content did your webinar at Chase deliver to their high net worth clients? Was it this material? No. So that's an example. That would be a metaphor, right? So if I'm a small business marketing speaker, which I am a small business marketing speaker, and I know that Chase Bank wants to do more business with small business, I'm going to go to the VP or the senior VP of consumer banking or business banking at Chase, regionally or nationally, and say, hey, I have an idea for you. You guys want to do more business with doctors, dentists, lawyers, accountants, and orthodontists, right? These are all the high net worth entrepreneurs. Put me in front of that group, not with a Chase selling message, but with a how to grow your practice message brought to you by Chase Bank so that you become the champion, the hero, and the advocate for the small business owner. If they do that, they have new sales opportunities, customer loyalty, customer retention, upselling, cross-selling their existing people. They get 80 or 100 or 200 or 500 people onto a webinar brought to you by Chase, but I'm not talking banks or banking. I'm talking how to grow your medical practice, how to grow your law practice, how to grow your accounting practice. In the corner, instead of the Do It Marketing little icon, it's Chase Bank, or it's the Chase Blue credit card, or it's whatever Chase wants to promote to those people. And then we do a 5-minute commercial from Chase at the beginning. We maybe brand some of the emails that are going out before, during, and after. The replay gets branded with Chase. Chase emails it out to their database. So I become a marketing and sales tool for Chase Bank, not by pitching banking services or by pitching my services, by helping a critical audience of theirs do better with their marketing, brought to you by Chase Bank, who's seen as the hero in the story. So does that make sense? It's kind of a triangle. Think of a sponsored webinar as a triangle. You're on one end of the triangle, they're on the other end of the triangle, and your ultimate audience is on the third leg of the triangle. That's how that works. Steve says, what's the actual course? Is it self-study, web slides, once a week live sessions? All of the above. So there's some training in the training portal. There's a weekly mentoring call with me. There's the private clients only Facebook group that's open 24/7 to post your homework, questions, assignments, interact with me, interact with each other. So it is a very deep, comprehensive program with some online components, live coaching and live mentoring with me, Facebook group, weekly calls, hot seats, role plays, the whole schmeggity. And yes, that's an official technical term. It's the whole schmeggity. So there you go. And Michael says, making an appointment with you now. Bam. All right, my friends. Well, thank you for sticking out to the bitter end. Are there any final questions before we bring this 2-hour palooza to a close. I told you I would stick here till the end. By 2 hours, I'm not sure who's more exhausted, you or me. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's me. I don't know. Any final questions? Any questions that flew by earlier that we did not get to answer that would make you a happy camper before you book your call at highfeewebinars.com? Do the questionnaire, pop into my calendar. Let's have a decision call tomorrow or the next day. Figure out if this is the next step in your big, exciting business evolution. And not seeing anything come in. I'm seeing a ton of thank yous. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So Tom, Scott, Thule, John, Irene, Michael, Steve, thank you so much for all of that fantastic, fantastic stuff. All right. I appreciate you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We will talk next time. And boom, easy, done. highfeewebinars.com. Go there, be there, or be square. All right. Thanks. See everybody later. Be good out there. Be good.